Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Paint Party live stream. We'll give a few minutes for people to get into the stream. It's so good to be with you again on this Monday evening here in the studio. It is a beautiful, or has been a beautiful day in the Black Hills. The windows are all wide open. It is a little humid today. We don't usually get humidity, but it's been rainy and stormy the last few days, so glad to have all of you. This is my Learn to Paint journey. So over the last about 5 years, I have been teaching myself to paint using YouTube tutorials primarily, and then exploring on my own. And every week I meet you online through over a variety of channels, and primarily on YouTube though. And I live stream my Learn to Paint journey. So I'm so glad to have you. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you joining in. Every week we try to start a new painting or work on a new painting. Over the last several months, I have been clearing out paintings here in my studio, ones that I had started in acrylic and I finished them in oils. I still have a dozen or more paintings to do, but we are going to set those aside this evening and start a new painting, and we're going to do something totally different, something we haven't done before. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have everybody popping in. You can participate in the live stream wherever you're watching via the comments, so feel free to ask questions or make comments as we go through the evening tonight. But tonight we are going to take a painting from another painter, and we are going to do a little bit of a kind of a master study of the painting. I'll explain more about what we're going to do, because we're actually going to take just one portion of this painting and we are going to work on it. I've never worked like this before, but I am excited to try it out with you this evening. So let's get that started. I'm going to switch over my cameras and get all of this set up for the canvas, and then we will jump right in. Welcome, welcome everybody. So glad to have you on the live stream. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's get it started. Where is everybody joining from? I can only see that there are people watching. I cannot see who's watching or what is going on, so feel free to chime in the comments. I love chatting with you all. Love chatting with you all, so feel free to chime in the comments. Yes, yes. So glad. So glad. Whew. I am yawning. I was practicing pipe organ. I am learning to play the pipe organ, and so I was practicing pipe organ. Oh, I didn't have my comments up. Sorry if you were making comments and I couldn't see them. I didn't have the little window up that shows me the comments. Now I do, so I can see the comments. All right. We are going to be working on, let me get this up. This is my palette, and we are going to be, I'm going to show you the full, this is a painting by a painter named Thomas Moran. This is in the public domain now. This is a range in Wyoming. He came over in the 1800s across the country and to paint in Yellowstone. And he stopped in Wyoming and had never seen this landscape. And so he painted this painting. And we are going to take the smaller subsection, that's a 7:9 ratio, and we're going to study that particular portion. And my goal is to really look at how he laid down those colors and how he laid down that painting, because one of the things that I want to improve on is my landscapes. And so I want to look at people who are really skilled in landscapes. I really respect him, Beardstadt, several others that are typically early American painters of the wild landscapes of the unexplored or newly explored U.S. territories. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Welcome, welcome. I see a few more people joining. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. Let me get my gloves on and we will dive in. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. I have been so focused. I was, as I said, practicing pipe organ, and my brain is like, whew, a little tired. I was really, really focused in, and then I came straight over here to jump on this live stream. So I feel like I've been working all day, even though I haven't been working. I have been busy. All right. Let's go. As I said, you can participate in the live stream wherever you're watching. You can chime in on the comments. Always glad to have you. Also, if you're watching on Facebook or somewhere where you can share the live stream, I would appreciate it. Let people know I'm live and they can join and watch. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to take that link over and share it on your socials. All right. Let's dive in. Take a look. I think the very first thing to do is to kind of lay in some structure, just so we can get kind of some of our structure in place. Okay. I'm gonna put this right over my eyes so I can kind of see right next to my as close as I can get. Just a second, I want to try something. I'm looking to see if I can lower my... Nope, I don't think I can. I should look a different time. Nope. All right. I was just seeing if I could lower my screen. I guess I could raise this up a bit, maybe. I should have got this all set. I apologize about that. And I will recenter my camera so you all can see exactly what's going on here. Nope, it ain't gonna work. Okay, that's fine. Oh, maybe it will. All right. I like that. Pretty close. Let me lock it in. I'm just raising my easel, and I will raise y'all up as well. Okay, now I should be able to pull this painting right alongside of this. Pretty close, pretty close. All right, I'm done messing around. Here we go. Now you can see sort of what we're doing. I'm just trying to put my image next to this as close as possible so that I can judge, hopefully more accurately, the spaces and sizes. So you can kind of see my setup there. That might be interesting, I don't know. We'll move that out a little bit. Okay, so kind of right in there, I think is I'm going to try to keep this pretty fuzzy. All right. Everyone's so quiet tonight. So quiet. This is kind of where that kind of curves down. That's pretty accurate. All right. It is, we're just getting this kind of set. Trying to get proportions right, or pretty close, so that I don't have to think about them the rest of the time, because I really want to focus on okay. Now that I have kind of the proportions in, what I want to do is go in and put some of the values. So I'm kind of squinting and just welcome. I see a few more people popping in. So glad to have you. Please feel free to chat, ask questions, make comments. So I'm kind of squinting right now, trying to lay in Shadow spaces. I'm just literally trying to get the value balance a little correct, basically. Hey there, Mom. So good to see you. This is really tough to figure out where these shadows are when there's no color tone, because our eyes fool us into thinking color is value. We think that this is dark. You notice I painted it dark, and it's not. It's a little bit darker than this, but it's just because it's cooler. And there is but there's kind of lines in here. It's very tough to train your eyes to see where the actual, because all of these are these yellows and are very like close to one another value wise, so figuring that out is definitely a challenge. Especially because this is kind of one of the like focal points of the larger piece. When you excerpt it out, it's like, what is going on? And it's funny because this looks darker than this, but it's actually, this value is actually a little bit. Yeah, it throws you for sure. But taking the time to get these sort of all related to each other helps me not have to think about it so much. When I start to drop in the color. we only then this is pretty dark, the sky. Not really. But compared to this, actually it's lighter, darker. It's lighter, darker than this. But then as it comes over, value-wise, it's lighter than this. It's really bizarre. All right, this is not good by any stretch, but it is making me think through where my dark values are. This can start to give us a roadmap to follow. That's why I'm taking time with it. Every time I've done this in a painting where I really map out the values, it generally turns out better than, because everything in me right now wants to jump to color, and I'm like, my brain wants to say, oh, we'll figure it out. But the truth is, you don't. I end up using color as the crutch, and so I really want to avoid that right now. The reason I decided to, those of you who weren't here at the beginning, what I'm doing is, this is a master study. Welcome, welcome. I see a few more people in. This is a master study from Thomas Moran. He was a early American artist in, he was coming across to Yellowstone and stopped in Wyoming. And this week I was watching a video, an instructional video from an artist, and she was saying how every painter that you admire, she was talking to artists, but she was saying, do master studies and really try to imitate the work, not to copy, but to understand the thought process. Because there's a lot of technique you can learn, obviously, with studying in a school or something. But this is really making me think. Probably stuff that Moran did just by instinct, but it's making me think differently and really think about his work, like how he did his values, even though he probably didn't have to think about this at this point. It was probably somewhat automatic, because it looks like there's one or two brush strokes to put some of these values in. So I know, but I mean, maybe he was thinking this thoughtfully, but it makes me think, and it makes me look differently, makes my eye work differently, if that makes sense. And adjusting these values, trying to figure out, okay, where are the darkest values in this painting? It's going to really help me then when I go to put in more of the details. Y'all are so quietly watching tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. Wanted to put this in because that is the darkest point, the darkest spot. So that may be some of these spots up in here. The real trick is these values inside of the larger spots. Okay, I think I'm almost ready to start painting, actually. I feel like I have a decent roadmap to where I want to go. Now, let me just step back and see what this looks like. All right. It looks like what it is, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna oh. I'm gonna put this mineral spirits back. Okay, let's look at let me see, because this blue gray is very specific. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm gonna get a towel. Let's see. It's kind of a green blue gray. Oh, I need some ultramarine blue. Whoop. Maybe a little bit of turquoise. I'm not sure, but something in my head says turquoise needs to be there. We need to invite turquoise to the party, so we're going to do that. Hey, Sharon. So good to see you. Thanks for popping in. You always pop in and say hello, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Oh. I'm dropping brushes, y'all. Oh. Okay, you can see it's kind of in the glare, but I'm mixing a little bit of this green. I think it needs A little more. It's a little... It's dark, too dark. It needs, I think, more blue to it. I'm adding some more aqua or ultramarine. Over here, there's kind of a red tone in the sky. And again, my goal is not to necessarily duplicate every brush stroke, but to kind of test the think through why this works is because green and red are complements, and so by him doing a little more of a greenish blue, it allows the mountain, again, it draws subtly, it draws the eye up to that kind of a peachy color up to that focal point of the whole painting. Okay. What I want to do. Then the next goal, the goal is to imitate, and I may do different sections of this painting the same way. I'll just have to see. The goal then is to take what I learn and then apply it to my own painting. So that now I need to see, okay, what can I take from this, or what am I taking from this? That I can apply. Alizarin Crimson is so, and I don't know what that is. Now let me look at, I want to take this burnt sienna. What I want to do is create a mid-tone for that rock formation at the top. Actually, before I do that, let me put that down. I want to take this brush. I want to create that orange if I can. What I'm looking at is this orange right here. It is very bright, but it is also diffused. So I can't just add white. I have to add yellow, I think, to it. Because white will desaturate the color, and that is not the effect I want. Okay, what I'm learning is that doesn't work. I don't know what that color is, but I'm gonna cheat. because I'm not sure I can mix that on in my palette. So I'm going to put some cad orange out there. And I also have this other yellow. It's a medium yellow. So we'll put that out there. Now let's see what we can mix. Okay, that's the correct orange we need. Oops, that's way too turquoise. Way too turquoise. Okay. Now I think I need a little bit cat red. I see a little more of red in there, very little bit, obviously, because that cat red is so bright. Literally one dot of, but I do see it. That tone. I don't know if y'all are still out there, but Where's the... And it's kind of this gray. Excuse me. Didn't mean to cough in your ear. This is a mess, y'all. A right mess. I have no idea how to fix it. But it is so instructive to make all these mistakes and not know exactly how to fix it, because then when you do, you're like, oh, well, that was harder than it needed to be, or that was easier than it needed to, you know, could have been easier. What I am hoping is that this I can learn from this and all these layers will add richness to this. That's the hope. Not exactly sure what makes that creamy yellow color. It's bright, it's vibrant. It's not diluted, but I don't know how to make it. Man, this is so ugly. So ugly. Even with all that work in values, it's still a mess. It's still a mess. It is still a mess. However, I have to always remind myself, the first time you do something is quite often or expectantly the worst time. So the first time you do a master copy of anything is the worst time. Whew. This seems like it should be so simple. That's why everybody can't be masters. There are only a few masters. Because the rest of us just make a mess. Hey there, Sarah. So good to see you. Thanks for popping in. It's looking so good. Sharon, you are super kind. It is a little bit of a hot mess right now, but it is also wet on wet paint, so it's very limited what I can do with it. There's not a lot of refining that I can do because of that. So trying to get kind of the main structure in place so that when I come back and do additional layers, then this looks too much like a circus tent to me, and I don't know how to not make that a circus tent, because the original kind of looks like that. But it is training me to see all these little variations in the rock, or think about how to create them. Very intentionally. I have to remind myself, I'm looking at this really close. Okay, it's relatively Oh. Okay, I gotta wrap this up. Oh well. Just a second. Can I take a little bit of this and... Oh. All right. The basic shape is correct, I guess. Trying to find good things to say. But, can't be good every time, especially again. First time is the worst time, so let me continue to remind myself that. And let me bring you back here so I can turn this camera around, and I can say thank you for joining me and good night and all the good things, especially anybody who has stuck around for the entire time. So grateful that you have. Let's see what we can do. All right. I want to say thank you so much for joining me this evening for something brand new. I will probably do more of these types of things, little studies of sections or parts of master copies just to expand my own knowledge, my own experience. Having, again, to copy the masters makes you think completely differently about your process, about especially right now where nothing is really working the way I want it. It's really making me think, okay, what's wrong? What isn't working? Is it my color? Is it, I don't think it's my drawing, because I think the drawing is pretty solid as far as where things are, the proportions, everything like that. I do think the values are still a struggle, like that condensed value range where we have all of these yellows, reds, kind of blues, purples in a condensed value range is a challenge for me. So that's something I'm going to continue to work on. It makes me think about my process. I'm really looking at the master and thinking, okay, how many layers was this laid in? What parts of it were wet into wet? What parts of it potentially were dry? And so I'm thinking about all these things. So all that to say, my brain's been working overtime. It is really a good process, a good experience. Yeah, I just don't have the skill yet. So, but that is the journey. That is the process. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. Join me again next week, Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will continue working on a new painting. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.